welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video today. And as you can tell by the title of this video, today we're gonna have a little girl chat and I'm gonna tell you guys Michael and I's love story, our long distance love story, because let's not forget, we were long distance for 5 years. That's half a decade. I was gonna think of more things to compare that to, but all I can think of is that it was half a decade. I get asked this question so much, so I thought I would just give you guys hey, children! So I thought I would just give you guys the 411, the scoop, after this video. You're gonna be so hydrated because I'm spilling so much tea. So to start this story off, we gotta travel way back to 2011. That's literally when the last Harry Potter movie premiered in theaters. That's when Crazy Stupid Love came out in theaters. What other movie came out? Horrible Bosses came out that summer. Like, it's been a long time. I met Michael in New York. So what happened was I signed up for this student leadership conference the summer before my senior year of high school. And basically it was, we stayed at Fordham University. We were all split into groups of like 10-ish, and they just taught us about business. We attended lectures and things like that, but then we also did fun things, like we went to go visit the Federal Reserve, we went to Times Square, Central Park, you know, we did different things. It was like a little learning, it was like a learning camp basically for high school students. There's probably like 500 people, and so they split us all into groups of 10. And can you guess who the heck was in my group? Now, I'm not gonna lie to you guys because I can't do that. I can't. Hey, Riley, stop hissing at your brother. For me, it was basically love at first sight. I saw him in his baby blue Volcom tee with his hair parted in the middle, curled. It was like long, almost to his shoulders, like curled at the end. When I tell you this boy's glow up was immaculate, at the time I thought he was super cute. He is super cute, but it was just, it's so cute to see pictures of him then and to see pictures of him now, because that glow up was so real. A really funny story from our first meeting. Our group did an icebreaker. I know, cringe, I hate icebreakers. They're so awkward. During the icebreaker, you were supposed to go around and you were supposed to say your name and an animal that started with the same letter as your name. And that's how we were introducing each other. I don't know, we couldn't just say our names. I was too busy staring at this boy that I thought was so cute with his freckly face, aka Michael, and trying to formulate a plan for him to fall in love with me in the next 2 weeks, that when it got to my turn, I literally panicked because I wasn't thinking about anything, and I just blurted out the first thing that came into my head, and that was cougar. So I said Cougar Courtney, and then everyone started laughing at me, including Michael, and I felt super embarrassed. But you know, little did I know I was foreshadowing my own fate, because Michael's 1.5 years younger than me. So when we met in New York, he was 15 and I was 17. But in my defense, he turned 16 the week after we left, and also he looked way older than me. Like, I didn't believe him when he told me he was 15. I don't know, he looks older, and I look like a child, so evens out. So from here, after the first day, I kind of just always was close to him, not in a creepy way, just always was next to him and would just talk to him, start up conversations. And this makes me sound like it was just me, but he was into me too, okay? He was. Now, let me tell you, I knew that this boy was into me too, and I wasn't crazy, because there was one time we were sitting on the charter buses that would take us around to different places, and he was showing me something on his phone. And you know those innocent moments that happen when you're young, like when you're a teenager, like, so he was showing me something on his phone, and I leaned over to look at it, and he leaned close to me, and our arms touched. Neither one of us moved our arm. We just let them touch as he was showing me. Oh, so you like me. It was just, you know, like those silly moments like that, but you know, like you both know what's happening, but you're both pretending like your arms aren't touching. Like, it was just this cute, pure, innocent crush connection that we had formed so quickly. And for that 2 weeks, we talked every day, we joked around, we had fun. It was a cute little thing that we had started. Also later, Michael eventually told me that during the first couple of days that we were in New York, he was actually texting one of his friends from back home and was telling them that he had met this girl that was super cute and that he liked her personality. That was me. He was talking about me. So the last day came from our trip in New York, and Michael was headed back home to California and I was headed back home to Arizona, and it was really sad because we had made this really great connection during our 2 weeks that we were there. Then later, Michael told me that after he left me, like at Fordham University, and he was going to the airport, he actually cried on the bus ride to the airport because he thought he was never gonna see me again. Like, what? He'll deny that he said that to this day, but we know the truth because he told me on more than one occasion. And I have a wonderful memory. I never forget. I'm like an elephant. It's a curse, really. So once we got home, back to our different states, we started texting every day. We started Skyping. Like, I'm showing my age there. We were Skyping. We would Skype every day. One time we Skyped through the entire night. Like, I did not sleep. We Skyped from, I want to say 8 p.m. until 6 a.m. That's probably why I'm so tired today, because I didn't sleep enough then. And we even started sending each other letters, like just writing letters to each other, just being all gross and cute like that. I remember the first time that I told Michael that I loved him, it was November. So what is that? 5 months after July, after we had first met in New York. I got my phone and I texted him and I said, hey, I have to tell you something, but you don't have to respond and we can go to sleep. And yeah, I don't know, I was just freaking out because I was afraid of rejection. And then I was just like, I love you. Okay, good night. And then I slammed my phone down after I sent it and I was terrified. And then 5 seconds later, my phone dings and my heart is beating out of my chest. I pick up my phone and I look at it and I read his text message and it says, finally, I love you too, with a smiley face. And then he said, good night. And it was just so cute. It was just straight out of a movie. Then December comes around, this is still 2011, and I don't know how I got my brown mother to agree to let her daughter fly to another state to stay at a boy's house for like 5 days, who she's never met, whose parents she's never talked to, but my mom trusted me and she let me go. And to this day, I'm really glad she let me, but I didn't expect her to say yes when I asked her. I was like, hey, you know, Michael, that boy I've been talking to every single day and Skyping every night, can I go visit him? And she was like, I guess. And I was like, what? Can I also have a car? I had to shoot my shot with everything, but she said no to that. December came and I flew to see Michael for the first time since we had met in July. I was so nervous. I didn't know if he was gonna like me still in person because he only saw me on a pixelated screen through Skype, and I don't know, I was just nervous. But then when I saw him in the airport, this cute freckly faced boy smiling at me, it just felt so natural, and we just hung out and he showed me California and we just explored together and literally just fell more in love. Like, it's gross. Like, it's gross how in love we were. We were just these two kids that were obsessed with each other. So basically that's kind of how our story started. And again, I was in high school at that time. We were just young kids and it didn't really impact us that much, like how heavy and how difficult long distance could be yet. But then flash forward, I graduate high school and then I start undergrad, and Michael has 1 more year left of high school. Going to college definitely had its challenges for us just because it's really hard. Like, I can't imagine how I would feel if it was the other way around and Michael went to college first and then I stayed behind in high school. You just feel like your person is entering into this next stage of their life and you're still trying to finish this stage. And we definitely faced a lot of challenges. There was moments, a lot of moments of insecurity, a lot of moments of miscommunication, a lot of moments of jealousy on both of our sides. I feel like my first 2 years of college were just, it was us working through the kinks and us actually finally getting into, I want to say, like a real relationship and realizing how in love we were with each other and how we wanted this to work. And that's when we had to like figure out, how is this gonna work? How are we gonna make it through these next 4 years for me? Because we kind of just assumed at that point that Michael would come to me or I would go to him or we would go somewhere together, but you know, we still had school to get through. So yeah, it definitely was challenging, but at the end of the day, we trusted each other. We did a lot of talking. We had a lot of fights. Like, by no means did we have a perfect relationship. Like, no one has a perfect relationship. We had a lot of tough times, but we just loved each other. All of this brings me to my tips and my advice for long distance. If you're going through a long distance relationship, if you've ever gone through one before, if you might go through one in the future, I think some of the biggest and most important things is to have communication and to have trust. If you don't trust the other person and if they don't trust you, then it's not gonna work because you're gonna feel jealous all the time. And I feel like that's the question I used to get a lot in undergrad. My friends would be like, how do you trust him? Like, how do you know? And then Michael would get that too, but it's just like, I don't know, we were just so obsessed with each other and we trusted each other and we were basically talking all the time anyway. And of course I said we had moments of insecurity and jealousy, but it was just, we were young and we didn't know how to handle situations with the maturity and respect that we've now grown to have, I guess. You know, it was all a learning process. I feel like we worked so well for so long, especially through all of that undergrad time, because for me, my love language is words of affirmation. And so having Michael write me these like love letters and writing songs on his guitar about me and texting me how he feels about me constantly, like I was receiving constant validation and constantly feeling loved, it really helped. Like that just happened to be my love language, and it really helped that we were able to express ourselves that way. And Michael's love language is physical touch and quality time. So that was a little harder, but also Michael is the type of person where he's so forward thinking. So he knew that, and these are his words that he's told me before. He knew that he wanted me and he was willing to put in the work and grow us together, and just knew that at the end of this time we would be together. I'm more of a present thinker, so there were times where I would get so overwhelmed and I'd be like, how are we doing this? I miss you, I just want to hug you, I'm sad. Even when he would be leaving a visit from me, we would be planning our next visit. So then it got to the point where we would see each other every month and a half-ish, especially towards the end of college. We just kind of had a plan worked out, and then we're like, okay, you're coming to me next, and okay, you're coming to me next. And we just counted down the weeks and counted down the days, and that's like how we got through it. All right, so then I graduate. This is a really long video, sorry friends. Now I've graduated college, this is 2016, and I'm starting law school at Santa Clara, which is in next to San Jose in the Bay Area, and that's where Michael lives. So we're finally, after 5 long years, gonna end this long distance. So I moved to California to start my law school endeavors, and Michael has a couple years left of school, of college, but the main thing is we're finally in the same place. So I began law school. Law school is brutal. The most challenging thing mentally, emotionally, it just takes a toll on you, especially that first year of law school. It's not like any other graduate program. It just isn't. So that was really brutal on me. I started to feel this immense pressure that I have never felt before with school. I've always been so studious and school's always been my favorite. I had moved to a brand new state where I didn't know anybody except for Michael. My whole routine changed, and as a person that thrives on routine, I don't like change and I don't handle change well, and so having every aspect of my life change, I was just feeling all this pressure and all this stress and just whew. So then, although Michael and I were finally in the same place, we started to kind of drift apart from each other because Michael was so focused on building his future and making sure that he had a good career start after he graduated, and I was focused on trying to survive law school and trying to navigate living in this brand new place. And it really took a toll on our relationship that we didn't realize was gonna happen. It wasn't a feeling of we didn't know how it was like to spend a lot of time together, because I used to visit him in the summers and stay for a solid month. So I would be with him 24/7 for a whole month, or he would come visit me for that long. I feel like we stopped being present in the moment because we were so focused on our lives and how we had lived separately for so long. Putting it together was kind of this difficulty we didn't think would happen. Now in retrospect, I can see kind of where that disconnect started. Remember when I told you my love language is words of affirmation? Well, when Michael and I were in the same place, we no longer were sending letters to each other. We were no longer sending those long text messages. And Michael's a quieter person, and that's just his personality. So if we're in the same room, or we respond to things differently. I am loud and you know every emotion I'm feeling, and when Michael's super happy, sometimes it's hard for me to know if he's happy, but he could be sitting there completely content, completely happy, but he just doesn't express his emotions as much as I do. So for me, it got like really hard for me to read him and then to not have those words of affirmation on top of that. But he was sitting next to me perfectly fine, perfectly happy. But for me, I started feeling like I didn't know if he liked me, and we would get in fights about it, and it's sad to think about now, but yeah, I started to get really short and impatient with him and offended at other things that he would say that would normally not even be a big deal. For example, I remember there was one time, well, multiple times, where he would come over to my apartment complex and then he would complain about the parking situation, because the parking situation was terrible. The guest spots were always taken up, and he, after going to class all day or going to work, he would be tired and then he would struggle to find a parking spot. But when he would voice that to me, I would take offense to it, because I would think, oh my gosh, there was a point where we were 12 hours away. Like, now we're complaining about parking? But that was only because I wasn't receiving my words of affirmation, my form of love. So then I was getting really offended by anything that he would say that seemed negative. And yeah, it was a messy situation that I didn't realize was happening at the time. But now looking back, I can see that that was like an issue. So then by my second year of law school, Michael and I decided to break up because we were growing apart, and I felt like I didn't know who I was, because I had grown up with this person, which is like, oh my gosh, can you hear my stomach rumbling? I hope you can't. It's a beautiful thing to be able to grow up with someone that you're in love with, to see them change and mature and just grow, and to go through that together. It creates this special bond. But also on the other side of it, I only knew myself as Courtney and Michael. I didn't know who Courtney was by herself. Sorry for talking in third person. And then we broke up for about 2 years. And for the first 6 months, it was really challenging, and we kind of would fall back together and I think try to force things before either of us were ready to truly get back together. But then we finally really cut it off, and we lived our lives separately for 1.5 years. What I've realized is when you spend so many of your formative years with someone, you move past the juvenile labels of my ex, or that's my ex-boyfriend or my ex-girlfriend. You know, I don't know. I never referred to Michael as my ex. It feels so surface level. And when you grow up with someone like that, they're your family, you know? He was just always my family. He knew that if he ever needed something from me, he could come to me, and I knew the same. It's like, it was deeper rooted than that, you know? We still had respect and we had love for each other. I think we just needed time. I used to feel kind of bad that I needed that time, but I never want to like go through my life and feel resentful of someone. And I just felt like if I didn't take time to just kind of live my own life for me, I would eventually get resentful for just feeling like I never had that time, you know? So yeah, time went on, and I started going through literally the worst time of my life. Like, when I tell you guys, you know how I've mentioned before on my Instagram story and just like in passing that I was literally diagnosed with depression, and I was going through a lot of traumatic events. And at that time, when I was going through all those traumatic things, Michael was there for me. Michael was my person that I leaned on. He was my rock. He is my best friend, and he helped me get through some of those tough times. And then after that, we just started talking some more, and we had a serious conversation about whether or not we were ready to give this a try again, and just to see, because I don't mean to make this all mushy again, but he was just like, it's always been me. Like he said, it's always been you. It was cute. I don't know. He's like out of a movie. I don't know. I can't make this up. Michael is just this like amazing person. He's such an introvert, and so all of his friends that he has are extroverts, because to be his friend, you have to be the one to approach him and kind of like force your friendship on him, and that's exactly what I did. When I post him on my Instagram story or anything, I always feel like I have to be like, I promise he likes me, because he's so composed, he's so calm. We are polar opposites. I am loud, I show every emotion, I think emotionally, I think with my heart first. He is very composed, very logical, very, what's the game plan? Let me plan for the future. And I'm more like, let's live in the moment and not even think about the future. Let's just be happy. And I feel like we're such a good balance of each other, because he needs a little bit more of me, and I definitely need a little bit more of him. So then I feel like it just works out and it balances itself out. What I really like and appreciate about our relationship is that I see a side of him that no one else sees. He's really reserved and he's really quiet with just everyone else, but not shy. He's just more composed, and then with me he's just like this dorky person that like talks in funny voices to me. But that's our long distance love story in a nutshell. We found each other at 15 and 17. We were long distance for 5 years. We broke up for like 2 years almost, and we found our way back to each other, and we're just living our lives together now, taking it day by day, hanging out, living with our kittens. Michael doesn't like social media very much. That's why he's not in this video, or else no, let me see. I'm gonna make him sit in here for like 5 seconds. Hold on. Look who I convinced to be in the video. I just filmed our love story. You have anything to add?
No.
No? You still like me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. That's gonna wrap up this video today. I hope that you guys enjoyed this long distance love story. I know it was long and I rambled a lot. Don't forget to hit the like button if you liked it, and subscribe so you don't miss another video with me. I hope that you guys have a great day and a great week, and I'll see you in the next video.